What up, guys? Dude, what's up? How you guys doing? Jesse Brown. What up, Joe? Just reviewing some flight footage. Sorry, I realized my YouTube was like a little too loud, so. What's up, Chris? Can you guys hear this? I was having weather problems from Hurricane Irma. I guess the leftovers. We had power outages, and I guess the internet was kind of randomly going in and out. So we're back. Can't hear the flight footage. What's up with that? I want to fix that. Hang on. Can you hear it? Can you hear the quad?
Play it. Let's play.
Hang on.
Nope. Nope.
Really?
Really?
Why are there no motor sounds? We got to figure this out. New to all this streaming crap. Hang on a second. Huh, interesting.
Now you can.
Now you can't?
Now you can.
You can or can't? Okay, cool.
No. Now I can't.
Really?
Yeah. It's like if you do the audio for this.
It's showing that I'm getting audio to you guys. I don't know why you're not hearing it though. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this right here. Yeah, or no? Sorry guys, hang on 1 second. Okay. Cool. Not sure why it's like hitching. I think that's Windows Media Player. Sucks. Alright, we're back. Much sound in the ear cavity, sorry about that. Boom! You see that? Explosions.
It's loud, bro. Turn it down a few clicks.
Sorry. Johnny Wall, I recommend all kinds of frames. Impulse Alien RC, Astro X, QAV Stretch X, Skitzo Dark Matter.
Flight controller.
Alright, well doing the lower yaw does not feel that great. Hey, did you guys hear me? Alright, so cool. I need a third monitor, that's what I need. I can't monitor the stream and YouTube and, yeah.
Why don't you just do full screen for you and pay attention to to what people are saying instead of paying attention to your monitor.
Because sometimes just staring at me is boring.
It's not.
In my opinion. In my opinion, it's boring just looking at me. But yeah, let's
Hi, Maddie.
boom. All right, get out of here. Boom.
What batteries and C ratings do you use?
I use the Lumineer. Hang on, I'm going back to the chat. I want to listen. I want to see what people are saying. I use the Lumineer 1300 95C 4S. Yeah, those things are like really, really gnarly, but they do way more. So.
Hi, Tara, as well. I don't know if they can see me or not. You want me to just read your shit?
Yeah, just read stuff. We're here to hang out. Let's do this. Let's do this, everyone.
Skitzo FPV says, Skitzo, what GoPro mount do you use on your frame? Can they even hear me?
Someone asked what GoPro mount I use on my frame, and it's just like it's the Creative Dex TPU. I think it's their 30-degree one, but I think Lumineer also sells one too if you want to get it from them.
Jose Texador said, RC smoothing value? Question mark.
0.5. I usually
Can you-
whatever the halfway point is.
Hi, Autumn's arm.
Have I done any astrophotography? Of course, man. I've got my telescope gear right behind the camera.
John C says, what's a good starter 3D plane?
Ooh, Twisted Hobbies. Twisted Hobbies makes a really killer crack yak, crack laser, all those. That's a foamy 3D plane, so you can just explode it over and over again.
Ask them if they can even hear me.
Yeah, can you guys hear her? Because I'm going to repeat what she's saying otherwise. RC Nova, I was having internet issues from her because of Hurricane Irma.
Chris Simpson said, Skitzo, I hear Preston has put neurons from hummingbirds' brains on the newest race flight controller in an industry first bionic MCU. Can you confirm?
I have no clue. I thought that was intense.
Yeah.
Okay, they can hear you because this is a gnarly mic.
Lone Wolf FPV said, how did the eclipse go for you? Get some photos?
We kind of chose a bad route with the eclipse thing because we found out that at my house we were gonna have I guess a 98% block or something like that. So we were like, oh, that's plenty, but apparently we missed out on the whole total block, so it wasn't as cool for us.
It wasn't, but
unfortunately.
The lighting was weird. It was completely washed out, so it was a little.
Yeah, the lighting was weird. It was like the contrast was changing. Really, really weird.
How many caps do you use on your quad?
2 to 3.
That was Colin.
Oh, yeah. Someone asked how many caps I use on my quad. Usually around 2 to 3, depending on the size, though.
Louis BFBV said,
hey, Fast Freddy. Thanks for coming in, man. Hope the baby goes to bed quickly.
Louis BFBV said, your description has Venom 1300 mAh, 4S75C as your batteries and not Lumineer.
This is true. Because Lumineer is a battery sponsor, so I fly theirs too. But lately, I've been flying the 1395C by Lumineer because I'm trying them out, and I do really like them. So those are awesome. The Venom batteries are really good too.
Oh, Chris Simpson said, "Don't worry, I paid $800 to fly to South Carolina for a total eclipse. Stayed at my dad's house. It was cloudy."
Yeah, that sucks. Let's see. We got that flying Ryan. Did we lose power? We did, but it wasn't that bad. We lost it for about half an hour. But after that, after power came back on, is when I decided to do the stream, and I guess the internet just was intermittently going in and out. Lone Wolf, I don't have any news on the new F3 Expo yet, but I do know that it is happening. The cogs are moving.
Oh my god, did you see what Jesse Brown said?
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Brown said, "Man, just as the stream starts, someone hit my power pole near my house and knocked out my power.
That sucks.
I'll hang out on phone for a bit until battery gets too low." Aw, that's dedication.
Yeah, I mean, batteries are batteries, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. All of them are pretty decent.
Have you tried tattoo?
I have. Did someone ask that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried tattoo batteries. I mean, they're all Gen Z cells. Like the cells inside the batteries come from the same factory, so it's whatever.
Pablo Contreras said.
Pablo, what up?
Skittish.
Skittish. I like that.
He meant Skitzo. Juke Ruble says, "What VTX are you running now?"
I'm running the Lumineer 600 milliwatt VTX, and they have one that has like a little pigtail thing that comes off the end now, which is kind of nice. So you don't have to worry about the antenna snapping off of it. But that's nothing new. I mean, all the transmitters are doing that these days.
GDL Inc. says, "Can you do a Race Flight 1 tuning video explaining the various filters?"
I'm definitely going to do a new tuning video also talking about filters. Like that is something that a lot of people need to start learning more about, how filters work and how exactly to tune those, because you kind of need to. The filters actually directly affect the PIDs. So even if your PIDs are right and your filters are wrong, it's still going to fly like shit. So you really, I definitely want to do a new tuning video on that.
All right. Paul Patterson says, "Skitzo, the preloaded PIDs for the Skitzo flight controller. Did you have a hand in setting those?"
Those are so someone asked, what was his name? Sorry. Paul Patterson asked what is up with my.
Did you have a hand in setting
the hand in setting the tune? And that tune is actually from an older version of Race Flight, so I'm going to be doing a whole new overhaul on all of that. But yes, I am putting them in, but it's more of like I don't personally put them in. I kind of send Race Flight all that information, and they do it on their end. So.
Well, that kind of answers the next. He said anything to add, but I guess.
Yeah, and my rates have completely changed and all that stuff. So that's the problem, is I'm always changing things. So it's really hard to keep that up to date. So whatever you guys are seeing is probably a couple weeks old.
I like this. X Belson says, "Would you rather your very last pack in your lifetime, but the best flight you've ever had, or a lifetime of unlimited packs but crappy flights?" So,
ooh,
one battery, one pack, but the best flight you've ever had for your entire life.
I don't know. That'd be hard to answer. I probably would have the best flight. Yeah, I think the best flight, because.
But you'd never be able to fly again.
Yeah, but still, I think it's all about the memory. Like when you fly and have a really good flight, it's something that resonates even afterwards. And I think if you just have a bunch of crappy flights, they have no meaning. So I'd much rather have a flight that really was just amazing and actually like impacted me in kind of in a way, than having just a bunch of frustrating flights.
Guillermo Nespolo, what up, yo?
Guillermo,
he says, "Hi there, dude. I sent an email with your logo animated."
Cool, animated Skitzo logo. Who wants to see that?
All right, Pablo Contreras says, "What would you say was the single most influential factor that improved your flying?"
Man. These are good questions tonight, guys. Holy crap, I'm caught off guard.
Racking his brain.
So what is the single most thing that...
influential factor that improved your flying?
I would say I would say my friends. I would say the Atlanta crew here. The circle of friends here is very strong, and we all drive and push each other. We have friendly competition that's never weird or anything, and like sometimes I just won't want to fly and it's kind of cloudy out and I'm just kind of like in a depressive mood, and then Kevin's like, "Get off your ass and get out here," and then I go out there and end up having a really good time. And I think that kind of stuff is what drives you. If you guys, I highly recommend that if you're a guy out there or girl flying by yourself, you are definitely limiting yourself. You definitely want to have like a crew for sure. It makes a huge difference.
All right, Rage FPV says, "Any ideas
Rage.
on a race or freestyle top mount frame?"
Wait, what now?
Any ideas on a race or freestyle top mount frame?
What does any ideas mean? Like a
mean?
recommendation?
Don't know.
Yeah, like reiterate that. I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
Terraswall FPV says, "Is there a new Skitzo flight controller or frame on the way?"
Yes. to both of those.
Yes.
There is a new Skitzo frame and a new Skitzo flight control.
Okay.
And they're both going to blow minds. And the one after that's going to blow even more minds.
Carlos Campos said.
I'm sorry. I had to put that out there.
Carlos Campos says, "What's new with race flight? Any new board soon? Maybe a built-in OS."
Well, that's kind of like the same. Yes, to all of those things. There is new stuff on the horizon from Raceflight. There's new stuff on the horizon from me. All of them are amazing and are going to change things for the good. Not in the sense of, hey, buy Raceflight because it flies better than Betaflight or KISS. That's not what it's about. It's about pushing the envelope, making this stuff easier to build, easier to repair, and more accessible. And that's what it's about. And I think that's important.
Maddie VFPV says, "How did you like the It movie? How did she like it?"
Well, first of all, she hasn't seen it, but she is. Okay, first of all, it was amazing. To any of you guys that are interested in seeing it, absolutely super entertaining popcorn flick. She didn't want to go originally, but then I kind of told her it wasn't that bad in terms of the scare factor, so she's going to try it. So. Freaking amazing though. Like I think the Skarsgård guy that played it did a really, really good job. I mean, it's really kind of hard to live up to the Tim Curry, original.
MUC Racing says, "What is the airspeed velocity of Unladen Swallow?" What?
I think he's referring to Monty Python.
No idea.
What was the air? What is the? Yeah, that's the Monty Python quote.
Okay.
Talking about the. Yeah. Anyway,
Anyways,
we got too many questions. I want to touch up on that, but
I guess will your frame be a True X?
It will be a True X. I will say that my new frame will be a True X.
Guillermo says, "Please, girl, make him go to his email." Okay.
Yeah, I know. I will.
All right. James FPV says, "Can you give any hints or details about the new flight controller?" No.
I will give a hint. I will give one hint about the new flight controller. Is going to be a hell of a lot easier to hook up. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all right. It was nice.
That might have been too much.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's going to be a lot easier to use.
All right. Kyle Drones 2TM. Or is it 2M? Why would my VTX change channels mid-flight?
I've actually had this happen. So if you're... Wait, what was the question? Sorry,
It says, why would my VTX change?
The VTX. So VTX, almost all VTXs come shrink wrapped, right? They have like a clear wrapping around it. And I've actually had the button that changes channel was actually kind of compressed a little bit from the heat shrink. So I had to actually like cut a hole around where the button is to kind of like relieve pressure off of the button. So that's one thing that could be causing it. It could just be a faulty VTX though, which sucks. But what do you think about the chair? It's racing seat. It means I go faster on the computer.
Roger Monty said, "You had a lack of inspiration some months ago. What gave you your inspiration back?"
Oh man, I was in a funk. So I don't know how many of you guys know, but I did kind of go through this bout of not wanting to fly. Not that I didn't want to fly, I just had no motivation to get out and do it. And I make it sound like it's a job or a chore, but it was just, I don't know. I didn't feel like I was really that good of a pilot, and I don't know. But I think, again, it kind of goes back to the team of I have really good friends that kind of pushed me to come out, and eventually I just kind of got over it. I mean, it's pretty amazing what having friends can do in the hobby, for sure.
Definitely.
Friends.
Random person, nice name. Random person 59701 says, when you started flying,
Rocco?
How many times did you fly every week?
When I started flying,
Air day.
When I started flying, I was working for a company called High Res Studios, who developed Smite and Paladins and all those video games. So I only flew during the week. I only flew because when I started flying, it was in the winter, and here in the winter it gets dark at like 5 o'clock. So every time I would get off work, it would be too dark to fly. So I mainly flew during my lunch breaks, and I would literally, like, instead of eating, I would go to this little It was almost like this a little abandoned office park. I don't know what you want to call it, like a parking lot essentially. And I would just fly there, and then on the weekends I would fly. So I kind of flew every day, but it was very small, you know, like a pack or two tops.
Yeah. Okay. MickG11189 says, do you prefer buttons or dip switches for VTX?
Ooh. Buttons, just because I'm lazy. Dip switches are probably better, though, for the problem that we just covered earlier, where he said his VTX is changing channel randomly. You're more likely to have that happen with a push button. So.
All right. Silvio Golega Jr.
That's a good yeah.
Jr. says True X and not True X frames. What's the big difference do you feel when you're flying? Or what's the big difference you feel
so,
when you're flying?
A True X. So a symmetrical X, or also known as a True X, does have different flight characteristics than, like, say, an H quad or a Stretch X. And it's mainly because of the I guess really the axes that it flips on. It just feels different when you're doing acro maneuvers. It's really kind of hard to explain. It's just like more of a physics thing, and it's a different feel. None of them are really better than the other. They behave differently. So, an H quad actually, for example, an H quad is wider than it is long. So when you do pitch maneuvers, it's faster than if you do roll maneuvers. So your roll actually feels slower. And on H quads, I actually go up on my roll rate because of that. So those are things that with a symmetrical X, you can get away with using the same pitch and roll rate. And the same thing goes for the Stretch X. A Stretch X, it's slower during the pitch, but it's faster during a roll. So you might want to compensate that with offsetting your rates. Anyway.
Colin Olenek Zach really, really, really wants to know what you do for a living. Because he's said that like 8 times.
I get asked this every stream.
I know, but he's asked like.
So he might be new to the stream. So Space Alpha, have a good night, man. Go to sleep. I appreciate you even popping in. That was really cool of you. I have been into I've been into video games pretty much my whole life. You know, I was there during the growth of it all, and that's when I knew when I first played Mario Brothers on Nintendo in 1988 that is what I wanted to do for a living. I was more fascinated with what was going on behind the scenes than the actual game itself. And so I worked for various companies over the years. I did contract work for Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto. I worked for a company here on Tribes, and I didn't work on Paladins. What else? Smite and Jetpack Fighter. And then I later went on and opened up my own studio working on kind of like retro games and stuff like that. What up, Peps?
If you were to send... Okay. Daniel Hubert wants to know, if you were to set a Pandora music station to fly with, who's the artist you pick?
Ooh.
Ooh.
So if I set up a Pandora playlist?
Yeah. Who's the artist you pick?
I would pick a lot of different artists, but if I could only pick one...
I know.
Who? Let's hear Autumn. What would Autumn's be?
Oh, wait. No. That's not fair because
okay, so
a new artist.
Man, I really like Andrew Applepie.
Yes.
But that's kind of generic now because he was used with Casey Neistat and some of the other vloggers. I really like his like indie style of music. But I've been really, really into a band, or I don't know if he's a DJ or not. But a guy named Wheaton that I just kind of like stumbled across, and also San Holo.
San Holo?
Yeah.
Like Han Solo,
but
San
right.
Holo.
Yeah, that is always... I love flying to trap style music. I know it's kind of cliche, but I also like flying to a piano too. So it just kind of depends. It depends on my mood, actually.
All right. Allison FPV says, which propeller do you recommend for freestyle?
Okay, so freestyle props are obviously different than racing props. I tend to go for the lesser pitch props for freestyle. I don't really care about having a lot of power. I care about the feel and obviously how well it flies, like how smooth it is. So I still fly the old school glass nylon HQ 5x4x3, like the original 5x4x3, flies better than anything else, just hands down, in terms of just like little quirks you might have in your tune. I put those on there and it's gone. But I also like the new PC. They have a PC version of their V1S called 5x4 point, or the 5x4.3x3. I know, like, I get so backwards with all the digits, but anyway, and those are really, really good. And I'm still testing out the Lumineer butter cutters, so I don't know if I can't recommend it just yet because I haven't tested it enough. But so far, it's pretty good. Or anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on each question.
All right, Mick G11189 says, "What are the chances there will be a freestyle drone competition in the future? Tony Hawk needed a Bob Burnquist and Bucky Lasik to be the figurehead of skateboarding."
Their F3 Expo, which is what you guys know, a lot of you guys know me from, was was that 2 years ago? I don't know. Anyway, it happened and it kind of like formed this like legacy of the only real like influential, I guess, freestyle event. And so they contacted me because they were going to have it earlier this year, but I guess they got really busy with other things. And they contacted me recently to let me know that they are moving forward on a new F3 Expo. So that is all I know, though. So I know that it's happening. I just don't know when and where and how.
Here's another one. Gearhead119 says, "Are you listening to the same song that's with your videos, or choose the song that best fits the flight?"
Sometimes. I normally use the same song that I fly with. Wait, am I saying that right? I normally...
That was right.
Yeah. So when I make a video, I usually use the track that I flew when I was flying. But sometimes, like while I'm editing, I'll say that doesn't, sometimes it doesn't quite work, or I'm just really, really into this one track, like after the fact. So that doesn't always happen, but about 90% of the time, I do use the same track.
Cool. Daniel Hubert
DL70
says,
or DA70. Go ahead. Sorry.
Tropical Onion DA70. Don't interrupt my interview here.
Sorry. Yeah.
Daniel Hubert says, "Does telemetry matter to you?"
No. Nah, I don't really care about telemetry. I don't know what the big deal is about that. I mean, it is obviously more precise, but I run everything on a timer, mainly because I'm lazy. If telemetry was just built into the system and I didn't have to like do any extra wires and all that crap, because I'm super lazy sometimes. I'm not lazy with how clean I build it. Like I want it to be clean and soft mounted and all that kind of stuff. But if it comes to like extra little tedious wires and crap just to give me voltage information, I would much rather just set up a timer.
SWAT FPV really wants to know when or if you're going to go to California.
When what?
If you're going to go to California to rip anytime soon.
I don't know about soon, but I will go. I'll go to California. I'll make her drive me if I have to. A 3-day trip.
There. SWAT FPV. Oh,
Snoochie Boochies.
No, Maddie V FPV says, "When are you coming out with an affordable motor?"
Touche. She thought that was hilarious. When am I coming out with an affordable motor? I like that. Jerks.
Mike Tame says, "Where do you get the music from?"
Socially Obscure. I like that name. Thanks, man. What?
Snoochie Boochies.
Snoochie Boochies.
Or yeah, I like that. Okay.
That's Jake and Silent Bob. If you didn't know.
No, I did
not. Okay,
know.
she's not cool enough to know.
Excuse me. All right, Tyler Popple.
Did I say Jake and Silent Bob? I meant Jay and Silent Bob. I sounded like an idiot.
Heard said it's hard to hear Autumn.
Get it closer. I could
Tyler
turn up my...
Popplewell says, "Can you post FPV videos on YouTube without part 107 if you're not monetizing them?" Without part 107.
Okay, that's a good question. Can you post FPV videos on YouTube
without part 107 if you're not monetizing them?
Technically, yes. Yeah. The biggest issue there is if you're monetizing. I think that's where that's when you're kind of crossing into that. They consider even if you're just flying in your backyard and your front yard every day, and you have a YouTube and you're posting it and you're monetizing it, aka for those of you who don't know what that means, you're making money on the views. then the FAA considers that you you kind of cross over into the commercial piloting. So I'm not saying they're going to come after you. I'm just saying that they technically view you as a commercial pilot at that point. Yeah, I guess affiliate links would also, I mean, if you're making any money in any kind of way, flying drones.
They want to see your shirt.
Like the whole shirt?
It says, they said, what's his shirt say?
Blitz and Shits. It's from Rick and Morty, man. You guys need to watch Rick and Morty.
Skitzo and autumn van life trip. What you guys think?
Yeah, we'll take Steele's van from him. Hey, who thinks Steele's gonna live out of his van?
I do. That was what I predicted. I predict he's gonna be one of those van
what up,
life
Daniel?
people that gives up his apartment and home and just travels all over the place and lives in.
If we miss some of your questions, be sure to like repost it, because one guy asked about my ready to fly quad and I didn't hear it repeated. So I don't really have an ETA on that, but it's still cogs are moving. What?
I'm confused. Amplex1337 says, ever thought about a quad sim or racing game with modes like dogfighting,
yes,
DM, CTF, escorts,
yes,
boss fights,
all those things. I want Rocket League with quads. Let's do it.
I don't even know what all that is.
Rocket League and quads. I want to have like a giant soccer ball and ram it with my quad and into someone else's like air net. That's what I want.
Allison FPV wants to know when you're coming to Brazil to fly.
Oh man, I don't know. That's such
Never.
I think it would be fun to go to Brazil though.
It sure would.
That would be a cool
Yeah.
country.
I'll let you know how it was.
Yeah, the cogs are moving. Quads and frisbees. You could even do. All right, sorry.
All right, Kenny says,
the sky's the limit with that.
what tips can you give for performing a good power loop? And also, and also shout out to Ross Sprague from Christchurch, New Zealand. Shout out to him. Okay, what tips can you give for performing a good power loop?
All right, power loops. The trick to that at first, if you're
ask Stingy.
It's what?
Is ask Stingy.
Oh yeah, I mean Stingy is the master of power loops. But what I did at first when I was learning power loops is you either want to do like one or two things when you're starting out. Is like make sure you're pitching back at the same speed in which you're giving throttle. That way you're kind of doing this like nice smooth curve, and then you want to use objects in your vision to kind of guide that curve. Or you can do the easier method is to kind of like climb up and then do a backflip really quick. So then you get reoriented and then you just kind of sink down like that. So you'll go up, do a backflip, and then sink down. And that's the first the step at really learning power loops, because that's the safer way, because when you get upside down is when it gets scary, right? So once you get upside down, just go ahead and complete it and then kind of sink down, and then eventually you'll just start getting better at it the more you do it.
All right, Roger Monty said, are you crazy on weight? Average AUW of your builds?
I don't really watch the weights anymore of quads, but I definitely want to be under 600 grams. Most of my setups are around 530 grams. So with GoPro and everything, like whole battery.
Kyle Drones 2M or 2TM again says, do I run capacitor if I'm using D-Shot?
Yeah, you should always run capacitors.
Okay.
It's just better. Yeah, D-Shot doesn't have anything to do with it.
Kid Pilot Quad Shop says...
Let me elaborate on that.
Yeah.
So when I said D-Shot doesn't have anything to do with it, I'll allow Alex Dalton's message to come through. He's like, what up, MFers? Well, wait, what was the question? All right. Thanks, Alex.
Do I run a capacitor?
Okay, so look, capacitors are supposed to be on just about every circuit. It is there for power surges. It's there for noise reasons. In the case with a quad, if you're flying around and you chop, let's say you're full throttle and then you chop throttle, your your motors will wind down and it sends energy back into the system. Same way as an electric car works by using the braking to put charge back into the battery. And when that surge goes back into the system, your gyro kind of freaks out on the flight controller. So that reduces that effect essentially. So when you have a surge of current going back into the system, it goes into the capacitors. And yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So
that was a little bit more descriptive than I wanted to get, but let's move on.
Kid Pilot Quad Shop says,
Kid Pilot Quad Shop.
I just opened a shop in Canada and I'm using your logo and a screenshot from the office on my website to market your frame. Is this okay with you? Or
yeah, I don't care. Whatever.
I'm an authorized Lumineer.
Yeah, I'm not really like upset about that.
Okay, awesome.
As long as you don't like use my logo and like don't say it's me or something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're helping me, at the same time.
Jesse Simmons says, "Hey Skits."
What up, Jesse? I was about to say, what up, Skits?
I'm having trouble tuning my rates. Any tips?
Tuning your rates. Well, I mean, so rates is a pure feel thing. So when you're flying around, it's so hard to... I still play with my rates today, so...
I think that's like the thing. You just have to play
that
with
is
them
the thing. You
until
have to play with it. Like, just try everything. Like, try high expo, try low expo, try high rates, low rates. Just play around with different things until you start realizing you're able to do... and it also depends... Your rates also depends on what you're trying to do. So, like, if you're trying to fly very aggressive, you actually want kind of higher rates, in my opinion. That's what I like. Because you're able to like react faster. Whereas when I fly smooth, my rates are usually pretty low, and it's hard seeking that balance because sometimes I'll be flying very smooth curves and I just feel like I'm soaring through the sky. But then all of a sudden I need to dodge something really quick and I crash, and then I think, man, maybe I need to go up on my rates, and you just kind of enter this vicious cycle. The vicious cycle of chasing rates and expos.
All right, SAS FPV says, "Should I soft mount my capacitor?"
No, that doesn't really... You don't need to soft mount a capacitor. I don't know if that's like a troll comment or not.
Yalis FPV says, "What does next generation FPV freestyle look like?"
I have no clue, but it's evolving for sure.
Yeah.
There is a lot of cool stuff on the horizon that's going to blow minds, though. Have any of you guys tried someone asked about the FPV split. I haven't tried that yet, but I heard obviously the footage isn't going to be anywhere near as good as a GoPro. But I haven't tried it yet. But I did just get the RunCam Micro, which is apparently supposed to be the same quality as the the bigger like HS 1177 cameras and whatnot. So I'm excited to try that out. If you guys have already tried out the micros that look really good with the 2.1 lens and whatnot, let me know what you think.
Tommy Quarles
Carlos says the split sucks.
Says you guys could Google half of these questions and save him some stress.
Not really though. Like someone said that you guys could Google a lot of these, but it's not. The problem is there's not like one cohesive like area to get this stuff. I mean, I guess you could go to like RC groups or something like that, but you'd have to be searching through forums forever.
Okay. Aces Full Quads says, "Where would you put the caps when using an all-in-one flight controller? Before the current sensor or after the current sensor?" The caps.
It doesn't really matter. Like, are you asking where you should solder the caps or where the caps should physically be on your setup? Because on mine, the cap, I run the race flight all-in-one, and it has two main rails on the front, positive and negative, that's directly hooked to the actual battery rail. And I run on those. You definitely don't want to run a capacitor on like the 5-volt rail or something like that. Obviously put it on the battery rail. And then I put the capacitors like wherever I want. And in case of an all-in-one, I put it on the arms, like where the ESCs would be.
Lone Wolf FPV says, "Have you noticed that PID changes seem to change rates?"
Lone Wolf. That what? Sorry, I had to.
When you change your PIDs, it changes the rates. Like PID changes seem to change rates.
It shouldn't, but it will change responsiveness of the quad. So, I don't know if you heard Autumn, but he basically said, "Have you noticed that PIDs can sometimes affect the rates?" And it doesn't really affect the rates because the rates are still the rates. So like if you specify your rates and it's at 1200 degrees per second or whatever, no matter what you do with the PIDs, it's going to try to achieve that unless it's just grotesquely out of whack in terms of your PIDs. But sometimes if you have like really high P's and low D's, it's going to be a little bit more responsive at the beginning of the input.
Well, there was your answer, unless it's grotesquely out of whack.
Yeah, so
it's not going to change it.
Yeah, like it would have to be really, really out of whack for that to affect it.
Okay. So, oh my phone.
Are you going to HHAEFI? I have no clue what that is. That's an acronym for a gnarly festival, maybe?
What? Okay.
Sorry, someone asked if I'm going to HHAEFI.
Okay. A couple of people have commented that their butter cutters keep breaking mid-flight.
I've never had butter cutters break mid-flight, but they are coming out with a new material that is supposed to solve that problem. So,
hello everyone, and hey Skitzo. Was everything the same as far as PDB and FCB on the 210 that you found in the closet?
So he's referring to my latest video. If you guys haven't watched it, I rebuilt my QAV 210 that I flew at F3 Expo. I found it in my closet, and I was like, I should rebuild this. But nothing electronics is the same. It's just the frame. So I used the original frame. The motors were smoked because actually at the end of the contest, I like slammed into these metal railing things and just totally wiped out the Cobras, the old school Cobras. So everything is stripped. So it's just the frame. I didn't use any of the original stuff.
Okay, Livia Chuka says, "Hi Jonathan, what camera protector is good for Skitzo frame? DM."
What camera protector?
I guess.
You mean like a GoPro? Well, I use the Creative Dex, or Lumineer also has one. It's just like a 3D printed TPU material case. It's kind of spongy. It really protects the GoPro well. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. If not, let me know.
Chase has semi FPV. I don't remember what it was. Can you ask again? Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip over.
It did have a satisfying bong sound, for sure.
110 through 130 millimeters for winter.
Hang on. Pure Trick Shots. Would you ever come down to Arkansas and rip our amazing places that the drone has never touched? I don't know what places you're talking about, but it sounds really fun. No place has never been touched.
Arkansas. The Perplexed.
Perplexed, what up?
Is the dark matter the frame that you fly the most?
Yeah, that is what I fly. I have obviously the QAV 210 that I just rebuilt. That's fun, and I think I'm gonna do another giveaway. I don't know if you guys think I should do a giveaway, but I think I might give away the F3 Expo quad in its current state. But a lot of people have told me I shouldn't, but I kind of want to give it to. I'd rather give it to a fan, you know.
Richie Soboleski says, "Hey Skitzo, new to the hobby, and every time I plug into Betaflight, the model just freaks out. And when I try different UART, the controller doesn't respond."
I have no clue.
Sorry.
I haven't used Betaflight in so long. What's the question again? I'll see if I can try to help.
They're saying that when they plug into Betaflight, the model freaks out. And when they try a different...
You mean like the little 3D representation of the model freaks out? That means the accelerometer or the gyro is messed up.
Yeah.
I think your flight controller might be messed up, man.
Reaper X FPV says best with a 130 millimeter frame.
That's a tiny frame. All right. I don't know. I don't know what the best. Is he asking me what the best one is? I don't know. I mean, I'm testing one now that flies really good, but I definitely don't have enough knowledge to recommend one. I wouldn't recommend one to you guys.
Okay, Joe Mack says, is the L's and the PIDs...
What's up, FPV Life?
...that is causing my prop wash when dropping and hitting throttle hard? Is it the L's and the PIDs? The L's and the PIDs?
I don't know what the L's mean.
Eyes and the PIDs?
He might mean eyes.
PIDs? Eyes? Oh, the eyes and the PIDs.
Yeah, the eyes and the PIDs.
In the PIDs.
Usually not.
Sorry.
So he's asking when he's sinking and giving it throttle, you're actually entering what's called prop wash, and that's like basically pockets of air underneath the quad that is causing disturbance as you're falling down. And if you actually could see how the airflow works on a quad, it's pretty interesting. But anyway, you're entering prop wash is the same as like a full scale, jet that people use to fly around when you hit, turbulence in the flying through thunderstorms and stuff. It's the same concept. And there's tricks that you can do as a pilot to avoid those because you obviously don't want to just sink down. And you'll never really see too many people doing that where they just fall straight down. But you can, but you just need to be very careful with your throttle. Don't give it too much, too quickly, things like that. So throttle management will help a lot, and that's basically prop wash. But there is, I know race flight can handle prop wash really well because of the 32 kilohertz, and I can run super high P's and D's, so the correction is like almost instant. So I can't even make my setups for prop wash. It's pretty impressive. But the tune does help, but it's usually from your P's or D's being too low, is the moral of the story.
Ralph the Cat says...
Ralph the Cat? I like that name.
How do you test a motor if you suspect one is going bad? How do you test it if you suspect it's going bad?
How do you test what?
A motor.
Oh, usually if a motor is bad...
how do you test it if you think it's going bad?
The easiest way to test it is, and in fact, I'm having that problem on the QAV 210 that we were just talking about. But I actually have a motor. I was noticing I was flying around, I just didn't have as much power anymore. And I brought it down, and I noticed that one particular motor was like piping hot, and the other three were normal. I was like, that's not normal. That's an easy way to indicate that either the ESC or the motor is struggling. But usually on black box, you can pull up the motor tab and see whenever you hit full throttle and all that kind of stuff. You can always see when one of them isn't quite getting there. So that's the easiest way to know if you have a motor or ESC problem. But the problem is figuring out which one of those is the problem, and it's kind of hard to figure that out. It's just trial and error.
All right. Todd Hamiel said, "What's your optimal position for receiver antennas?"
What's your optimal position for receiver?
Antenna. I guess maybe he's talking about the angle?
Yeah, I usually do like a V style in the back. So my antennas are usually run up the side of a zip tie, and then I zip tie those against the rear standoffs. So it's kind of like this. But also the VTX antennas back there. So technically it's not the best to do that, but 2.4 and 5.8 are far enough along that it doesn't really matter that much. So.
Jesse Simmons says your girl sounded so redneck when she said Kansas. No offense.
That's because she is redneck.
I am so not redneck.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I reckon it's in Arkansas.
Yeah. People said I'd kill for that frame. Wolf Futaba.
Oh yeah, we are gonna do. I'm gonna start doing. I think I'm gonna start doing a weekly giveaway. By the way.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, but it won't come from me. That way, it will get there at a decent time. I'm super bad at the guys that won my. There's a guy that won my flight controller in one of our things, and it took me like a month to get it to him. I'm like the worst at just forgetting crap. So if I do giveaways, it's gonna come from someone else, aka Race Flight or Lumineer. But I want to start doing giveaways on my live streams.
All right, Yuval Adamus says, "Do you tune filters before you tune PIDs?"
Yes, you do filters before PIDs.
Maddie V FPV says, "Skitzo, as a fan, I will fly the shit out of the drone you give away." Meaning give.
That's a good thing. So, hey, what's up, Puppet Master? Really quick touch on the filters and PID things. So you do want to tune your filters before your PIDs, and the reason for that is because you want to figure out obviously where the filters need to be, because that's what affects the PIDs. So if you don't have your filters correct and then you start tuning based off of that value, it's never going to fly right. You're just it's like building a house on a pot, but your foundation is shit. I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy. But anyway, so how you do that is you actually want it, the lower your filters, the better the quad is going to fly, assuming you are on a noise-free, vibration-free situation. So what you want to do is kind of leave the stock filters where they are, fly the quad around. If it flies decent, in the sense of one of the biggest telltale signs is that if you don't have enough filtering, is it will start being it will fly like gravel, like it will be really rocky, and there's a difference between that and your PIDs being too high. I'm not meaning like jello in the video. I mean it's noticeable while you're flying around. Just imagine like you're flying over like gravel. That's what it looks like. So you want to go up on your filtering, but the whole point is to do a process of elimination and go down on your filters as low as you can before you introduce that effect. If you introduce that effect, kind of go back up a little bit, then you're ready to tune.
Huh. I think urban terrain, well, maybe this kind of...
Paul, I don't have a video on that, sorry. Paul asked if I have a video about the filters, and I will be doing one soon, but I don't right now. I just figured I'd give you guys a tip, just being in here.
Okay, any risks in setting stuff to zeros and seeing what happens? Anything I shouldn't set to zero? As
like
far
the
as
like the
playing with
PIDs?
PIDs, yeah.
I don't think you should set anything to zero.
Urban Terror?
Yeah, don't set anything to zero.
They're new too.
You should be good at default though, like in just about all the firmware. Like KISS comes with decent defaults in the sense that the quad will fly and do the things you're telling it to do, but usually you want your PIDs lower on the spectrum in the sense that you kind of want it feeling a little loose on the sticks. When you give it input, it kind of feels like it's a little loose, and that's good. That's where you kind of want to be when you're trying to figure out where your filters should be. You don't want your PIDs like being way up on the spectrum where it's trying to react like crazy off of when your filters are wrong.
All right, Hornet FPV says, do you regret using Spectrum?
I'm 37. What?
They want to know if you regret using Spectrum over FR Sky.
I don't regret using Spectrum over FR Sky. I'm using Futaba now, by the way. I don't know if those of you know that or not.
Does Futaba have RSSI telemetry?
Futaba does have telemetry, but it doesn't work correctly, and I'm working with them on that. So.
Somebody asked where Ladrib was, and then Guillermo said he went to go buy eyeliner.
Dang, he's on point. Ladrib's buying eyeliner. That's the topic of the night.
Wait, you said you tune...
I use 600 milliwatt on my VTX, sometimes 200, depending on what I have.
Filters first or PIDs first?
Okay, filters first. So just so everyone knows that's in the live stream right now, tune your filters before your PIDs, because your PIDs are based off of the filter. So if your filter is wrong, your PIDs are never going to get right, and you're going to be chasing a problem that is, it will fly decent, but it will get to the point where it will never fly better than that. And so you definitely want to do your filters first before your PIDs, for sure.
Oh, I like this question. PTLM3 says, how proud are you that you have such a beautiful and cool girlfriend?
That was the one that you liked?
Yeah. That's an awesome question.
How what?
Are you serious?
How what?
How proud are you that
I'm very proud of my girlfriend, if that's what... Oh, man. Okay, FPV and me is asking, have you ever had noise issues with your frame? I did have noise issues with one of my frames. The original prototype I had issues with, and I actually started hating the frame that I designed. And I found out there were two problems. That I actually had the flight controller was actually going bad. It's like, so the gyro was kind of giving weird values sometimes. That took forever to troubleshoot. And one of my arms was a little loose, in the sense that, it felt fine, but if you ever kind of did this to it, you would see it kind of do this, and that obviously doesn't help either. So.
Oh. Owen Malone says, thanks for everything you give back to the FPV community, Skitzo. It means a lot to lots of us.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching all my crap.
I don't know what this means, but Davey Boy says, I don't want to be pushy. You actually put me in touch with Noack a few months ago, but still no joy. What does that
I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Autumn is very quirky. I wouldn't call myself quirky.
He is
That's
so
kind of
quirky.
rude. No, I'm just
You're
kidding.
so quirky. Holy crap.
Could motor vibrations cause line in your FPV feed? Of course. Motor vibrations will cause vibrations in the video. So I didn't mean that like in a smart ass way. Like literally that is one of the most common reasons is having a motor that's because all of your motors can be fine and they can produce just all the power in the world. But if one of them is a little off balance, we're talking about like down to a machine level where you can't see it wobble or anything, but it can be a little off, and that will cause filtering problems. You got to adjust your filters based on how banged up your motors get. So sometimes I've had a motor that was perfectly fine, but it was producing way too much noise, and I just throw it away.
People want to know what the best.
They can see you, right? I was just letting you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
People want to.
I'm just making sure that you know that you're. Don't pick your nose, is what I'm saying. Don't like you always do.
Oh,
I'm just joking.
So?
Just joking. Yeah, I heard Velocidrone is a good sim. I actually haven't played. I haven't played any sims since Freerider though, so I don't have a lot of education on that. But I will start doing some flying with you guys. I'll start doing some simulator flying on live streams.
Really?
Yeah, let's
like
do it.
Plane or drone?
No, air quads.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, which?
Alex asked, "Where's the slip steal some meat guy?"
Somebody asked already.
He already has.
Yeah,
Way to go.
There was one.
Oh, there he is.
It.
It's Sima right here.
Yeah.
Skitzo, did Steele know you slipped him some beef that one time? It's like broken English too. That's what makes it hilarious. I bet it's like some Russian guy like laughing, thinks he's so funny. Did you steal some beef? Oh. Oh god.
Oh man.
I can't even say it. What's your last name? Baklanov? Baklanov? I like that. That's definitely Russian.
That is not hard to say.
Is that Russian?
It's so.
Did you hear what I said? I said stealing beef. I don't know. I can't do a Russian accent whatsoever.
I don't know. That sounds kind of halfway German too.
That was kind of German / I don't know. I can't do it.
You got that from Phil.
Yeah, no. Phil has he sounds like he sounds like
Are you on
I
medicine?
should be medicated. He sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger sometimes. So we'll be like, hey Phil, say get to the chopper. And he's like, all right, get to the chopper. And we're like, ah, get down.
Yeah.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
I can't.
I'm sorry. Oh my god. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
FPV Life. Can you ask again?
Sorry, we got off track.
Sorry.
Speak Spanish. Hola, señor, ¿cómo estás? That's it.
Why the voice, though? Why the voice?
Was it kind of
Why
racist
the
to add
voice?
like a kind of a Spanish twang to it? Hola, señor.
Right, enough of that.
Señor Stimpy.
Right. Chad Hurd says, can you explain the motor test with the configurator and what the results mean?
Can I what?
Can you explain the motor test within the configurator and what the results mean?
If I had,
Today.
I'll have to do that on another next stream because I don't have any black box logs. I was about to say vlogs. Black box vlogs. Senor.
Davey boy, don't you hate when your workspace gets cluttered with tools and crap?
Oh, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. I would be an OC. Like, if someone that had OCD were to walk into my workbench area, they would probably have a seizure.
It's such a disaster.
Like, they wouldn't even... I could tell when David came over, he was coming to get a motor from me. I was, because I just give away motors to my friends. and he walks in there, and you can just see him kind of looking around, like, because he's OCD as hell, and
Oh,
he's like looking around like itching and stuff. He's just kind of like freaking out. I'm like, dude, it's not that bad, I promise.
Like,
Just
they
don't
don't
drop
see
anything.
it.
Just don't put anything anywhere, or it will instantly vanish.
Rocco, you absolutely not. He does not know where anything is in that room. It's a complete
No, like
disaster.
I'm not joking. If you have like even a motor, if you set the motor down on the table and turn away,
You lose
it's a
it.
Where's Waldo situation. You'll go back and be like, oh my God, where did it go?
And he will not listen to me about cleaning the room. I cleaned his
You
room.
should get in there and clean that room.
I'm not
woman.
cleaning it again because you completely destroyed it the last time I cleaned it. It took me forever to clean that room and organize all your little parts for everything. No, I'm not doing that. Not touching that. Not going in there. Not breathing that air. Not doing it. Anyways, solder tips. Do you have any?
All right, solder
Can
tips.
No, actually, it says, can you give some tips on good solder points?
What the
Same
hell?
thing, right? Solder tips and solder points.
Solder pointers, maybe? I wouldn't be able to explain that better than like what you could probably YouTube. I learned how to solder off of YouTube. I was like, how to solder, and they showed like if you're soldering two wires together, and things like that. I don't really have any tips for that,
Okay.
other than definitely having a decent soldering iron for sure helps, because you definitely don't want to try to solder with an iron that can't get very hot.
Probably something more on the sharper side than the nubby side.
What?
Well, you had a nubby one, that's why. Oh, no, that's because you're...
Oh, you mean,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, Red Bee says, hey, Skitzo, do you use anything other than your battery strap to keep your batteries from going flying when you crash?
No.
Nope.
I just use battery straps. I use the Lumineer ones, and Lumineer, there's other companies that have them too, but the battery straps that have the rubber around it help, because that kind of adds more friction on the battery. So if you have a bottom mounted, like if this is the battery and you hit, it causes friction this way, so you're less likely for it to eject like a missile.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Guillermo, no.
What did he say?
He says, basically he wants me to clean your room. I don't think so.
That's a
not-
good idea.
Kyle Drones 2 says, buy a bigger house. Our house is big enough.
We have a pretty big house.
We just need to clean
It's just I have
everything
crap
out.
everywhere. You can't even get in my garage because there's planes everywhere.
I told him I'm going to give it you about 3 months before I trash everything.
She ain't gonna do shit.
I'm going to destroy everything. Alright. Last time, Dangerous FPV says, ever experience more instability when the quad is inverted?
No. But your eyes will affect that. If the only thing I've ever had is if your eyes are too low, you can if you go to min throttle or chop throttle inverted and stuff, it can kind of like wobble like this or even yaw. But I've never had like really instability, just more of a, maybe that's what he means by that.
I don't know.
Your eyes are probably too low.
Is Skitzo free to come on the FPV live stream on Friday night? FPV live stream on Friday night.
Sure.
That's FPV Life. Because he was getting salty that I wasn't asking his question.
Sorry. Yeah, we're trying to get all the...
We're trying. FPV Life wants to know if Skitzo is free to come on FPV live stream on Friday night. So, answer is...
Sure. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I want to go over Black Box. Okay, so future live streams, we'll go over Black Box, kind of explain what's going on with them, especially the motor tab, because that one's super easy. You'll probably start there. I also want to play some simulators with you guys, and also possibly do a build, like while I'm doing a live stream. That could be kind of fun. Like just have the webcam like facing the build, and I kind of talk about what I'm doing and why.
And why you shake so much.
I don't shake.
I
I don't ever shake.
Inverted jaws.
It's not a tumor. I love that. The kid's like, what's wrong? He's like, I have a headache. Maybe it's a tumor. It's not a tumor. I can't do it. That's my best Arnold.
What's wrong with you? All right. Owen Malone says, "What's your take on the flight controllers with the gyro separately soft-mounted?"
I didn't even know that happened. I didn't know that was a thing. I have something way cooler than that though, but I can't talk about it yet.
Rickster FPV said, "How many square feet is pretty big?" Oh, he's
Yeah, I want to start streaming more often. I think I'm gonna try to do it more often, but I have the worst memory ever, and she's the only reason. She's like, "Don't you have a live stream tonight?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah."
And I'm also the one that tries to remind you of packages needing to be sent out. Would you try?
You should just start doing them for me.
Okay, well, you need to get the addresses for me. You know what? We should just like start emailing Autumn instead of him, because yeah, get more done. Jason Long says, "I vote for
Electrical tape for soft mounting what? Pure Trick shows. I don't know the context.
Perplex says, "So is now Tuesday and Wednesday night live streams?"
No, the only reason I'm doing a live stream right now is because yesterday it was a total failure. I tried to live stream and my internet kept going in and out. So I decided I owed it to you guys to at least appear today.
Indeed. Guillermo Nespo, please explains the stingy girlfriend situation.
No.
Have none.
No, I'm not explaining anyone's girlfriend situation. It's not my area to say anything.
Greg Phillips edit says, "When should I turn off self level mode and FLI acro? When should I turn off self?
Are you saying like when you should like graduate from self level?
I guess, yeah.
I actually started learning on, this is how long ago, I started learning on Open Pilot. Open Pilot's not even around anymore. I guess it's Open Libre now or some kind of Spanish company took it over. Like for real, it's called something like that.
Open
but
Libre?
It's something like that. Anyway, and yeah, so I started flying on a CC3D Open Pilot, and I was on a stable, I guess, self-leveling mode. And that is how I first started flying. And then I met up with Steele. Steele's like, "Oh man, you got to fly rate mode." So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna fly rate mode because that's what the crew is doing." And I exploded over and over and over again for about 3 or 4 days. It took me a few days to at least be able to like just keep it in the air without just exploding. And but it from whoever said that earlier, it does. Libre Pilot, thank you. That's what it's called. From the guy that mentioned it earlier, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, said that it does kind of hold you back because it's kind of like, I don't know, like if you're in a car that can only go 15 miles an hour, you're obviously never going to race. It's just kind of like you can only do so much within that whole 15 mile an hour motion, so it definitely just holds you back.
Libre.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre.
What you know about Nacho Libre?
All right, Snake Jump says, "Hey, I just bought a GT2 2017. I've never flew a drone before. Is the GT2 a good drone?"
Well, let me find out. Let's see. What is it? GT2 drone?
I mean, they can look it up.
Never even heard about it, but we're about to pull it up.
What's CC3?
I don't know. It looks fine. It looks like a 4-inch though, right? I think it looks like a 4-inch quad. I can't tell.
What is all this open toilet business?
They're making fun of Open Pilot. Open Pilot was really, it was the only thing. There was Open Pilot, and there was, and in fact, Clean Flight wasn't even a thing. Not Beta Flight, guys. Clean Flight, which is what Beta Flight derived from. So, Open Pilot was pretty much all we had, and Clean Flight was just starting to come out, and we did eventually migrate over to that. But Open Pilot was a nightmare. I mean, you think Beta Flight is kind of annoying to like with all the different options and features. Open Pilot was just much worse, and it flew like crap to top it off.
Double A says hello.
What up, Double A?
Oceanic Ops. Worth putting caps on small or micro quads like Baby Hawk? Question mark. Extra weight versus performance of caps. Worth putting caps on small.
Wait, what now? What's the question again?
Is it worth putting caps on small or micro quads like Baby Hawk?
Yeah. It's not. I don't know what a baby hawk is. If
Or
it's an actual like
micropods.
3-inch quad, if it's something that's actually running ESCs, speed controllers, I think it's always beneficial to run caps. I know people make fun of it, and there are people that just hate the idea of caps and make fun of people that use caps and stuff. It's just if they knew anything about electronics, they wouldn't be making fun of it. So
Everybody's saying that GT2
Smashy, what's up?
is a 5-inch and it's a camera killer or a cam killer.
Cool. I didn't know. I couldn't tell if it was a 5-inch or not in the photo. It looked like. I mean, it's
You
still.
said it's GT200 as fast as hell.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. But I mean, honestly, like, there's a lot of quads and ready-to-fly builds that are fine, you know? And it all depends on what you're happy with. If it flies good, if you think it's good, then who cares?
Braden White says, "What's up, Skitzo?"
What up, Braden? Is it Braden?
Yeah.
Braden White. Do you use
Eachine
Eachine?
products.
I haven't yet, but I've heard a lot about it.
Does it get too cold to fly in Atlanta during the winters? Snap your fingers off cold.
No, it does get pretty cold here sometimes, and it's not too bad if it's not windy. It's
You've flown in the snow before, haven't
I have
you?
flown in the snow,
Yeah.
but that's
Nighttime.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a couple times it gets down to the point where, like, if you feel like you fall over, you're just gonna shatter into like 50 pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah,
James Helena says, "Skitzo, do you still play piano?"
I do sometimes. I haven't played in a while though.
Neither have I.
Yeah, we both. She's
have
really
it.
good at playing too.
You know why we haven't played? Because your arcade is blocking our
I do have a
piano
Rick and Morty arcade sitting in front of the piano.
and my keyboard.
Oh well, okay. That kind of.
There we go.
That kind of. You can squeeze around behind there.
Isn't it always autumn in Atlanta?
That's pretty good. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Guillermo really wants you to open your email, and I'll remind him. Guillermo.
I will open my email. I promise. As soon as we're done.
I'll make sure he does. Any plane action lately?
No, I haven't flown any planes. Actually, that's not true. I have a funny story. I didn't get it on camera though, so I don't have any cool photos. But I hadn't flown in a long time, and my airplane buddies were like, "Hey, come fly with us." So I went out there and I flew like way more aggressively than I've ever flown, and I hadn't flown in a while, so I felt rusty while I was doing it. So moral of the story is I crashed and ended up having to use a broom and a dust pan to clean up one of my big planes. So
Sucks.
it happens.
Pure Trick Shots says, "Is electrical tape acceptable for soft mounting motors, or should I buy TPU mounts trying to save money?"
Electrical tape is probably fine. I don't soft mount motors though. It actually makes a much bigger impact soft mounting your flight controller. We actually did tests where we actually figured out the noise reduction based on that, and we found out that it was actually I think Kevin did that. Kevin Stinger Swarm did a test, and he found out that there was like a 20% improvement. I'm just throwing numbers out there. There was like a 20% improvement soft mounting the flight controller, and then only like a 5% improvement soft mounting the motor. So obviously doing both together would make a difference, but if you were only going to do one, you definitely want to do the flight controller. Yeah, I fly gas planes, Ben. I have a 120 inch. No, is that right? It's not 120 inch. It's 106 inch. Sorry, 106 inch wingspan, 120 cc, 3D Hobby Shop Edge.
The zombie ones?
And a 91 inch yak and a 91 inch extra, and what?
The zombies at 106?
106 inch.
I could have sworn that was a 120. It's a 106?
It's 120 cc engine, not 120 wingspan. It's a different. Yeah.
Okay.
Dang.
What?
The only thing he soft mounts is his wife.
Dang! Not really. Alright.
That was good. That made me smile. It's random stuff like that makes it worth it.
Boys and their comments.
What up, Snake Jump?
They never grow up. Do you use Sims?
I don't use any Sims, but I will. I'm going to use a Velocidrone.
Is that the name of the thing? Velocidrone?
I know, it's the worst name ever. I'm sorry. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Velocity drone?
JG3
I think of Velociraptor, but with a drone in it.
I think of your claws.
Oh. Thanks.
Any,
My Velociraptor grip?
yes.
Oh, thank you.
JG3 wants to know when you're coming back to Alabama.
Who asked that? Do I know him?
JG3.
JG3. Did I meet you in Alabama? I am definitely coming to Alabama again. There's some nice spots down there. For sure.
Adam says she likes a hard mounting though. Okay, boys. Enough with the mounting.
I have used, I've never used 5S on a quad, but I've used 6S on a quad. And I found out that the weight that a 6S battery added wasn't really worth it. You're just kind of like, I don't know. You're just introducing a lot more weight, so then you have power to compensate that, but now you just have a heavier quad.
Kyle Drones Signo 11.
Signo.
How long did it take you to get used to vlogging instead of just showing flight footage?
I only show flight footage. I very rarely do vlogging.
But you were vlogging for a while.
I do a little vlogging.
Yeah.
I'm still not used to it. I still feel awkward as hell in front of the camera.
I don't think you're awkward at all in front of the camera.
No, I'm saying that I feel awkward.
I think you're more awkward in person. I'm just kidding, honey.
I'm more awkward in person than in front of the camera, according to you.
I'm just kidding. I love you.
God.
Okay, Guillermo, what are you talking about, dude? Alright, anyways,
Go. Hey, have any of you... I asked this earlier.
Do you like the new Drew guy?
Yeah, I like the new Drew guy. He's alright. I'm just joking. Have any of you guys tried the new RunCam Micro? The tiny RunCam camera that's supposed to be really good pictures? Yeah, 6S does kind of suck. I just did it because I was like, oh my god, it works. And it sounds really, really gnarly, but I don't know. It's kind of like trying to take this like super powerful V8, car out this little tiny twisty track. It's just kind of defeats the purpose.
Where does Raceflight merchandise ship from? Cali? Where's Raceflight located? Where the merchandise shipped from?
Where's what?
Raceflight merchandise?
Raceflight merchandise, I think, comes from Arizona.
And
I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm assuming because that's where their headquarters is. 4S is going to be the sweet spot for a while unless we come out with a way to make a 5S or 6S pack be a lot lighter. Which I think we will, essentially.
Field charge setup or mass lipos?
Massive amount of lipos, for sure.
Yeah.
No one wants to charge it when they get there or on the field.
I mean, how many do you usually take?
I usually take about 20 batteries with me. That's 20 back-to-back flights, but it's obviously a more expensive route. If you can't afford it, then, I think having like 4 or 5 is good, and that way you can start charging one while you're flying the others, You can do it. It's just you have to worry about where you're going to get current from.
All right, John Lawless says, "Hey Skitzo, can I solder my bind button back onto my FR Sky X4R receiver?" Can he solder his bind button back onto
Probably. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't want you to like hurt yourself or mess up something. But I don't see why it wouldn't work. Because the button is just it's just a mechanical thing, just like a keyboard or a key on a keyboard.
It's not metal to metal?
Maybe it is.
Well, why else would he ask if he can solder it?
I don't know. Maybe it holds in place. I've never actually analyzed how... There's a slit in my wire. Look at that. What is that with that?
What wire?
My headphone.
Good thing you have a shrink wrap.
I'm just kidding.
What are you doing?
Stick my tongue in there.
Yeah, do it. Let's see what happens on camera.
Hippazoid, man. Have a good time. Or thanks for stopping by. I'll probably end up closing it down here in a minute, but...
Night, Skitzo and Autumn. Oh, Hippazoid. Good night. Have fun at work tomorrow.
Yeah, have so much fun at work. I don't know about the 16:9 camera. What do you think? Oh, you never flew one.
They want to know where my dog is.
Where is he?
He's in the closet.
He likes to hide in the closet.
He's sleepy. He's getting old.
He's getting old, so he just wants to sleep all the time, like me.
Let me go grab him.
Like Papa Skeeter.
I'm gonna go grab Tycho.
All right.
So he can say hi to everybody.
She's gonna go get Tycho. All right, gift. Okay. Updates on the giveaways. I don't really have any other than I'm gonna probably start next week. So just be ready to come into the stream and win stuff. I was gonna say shit, but I said stuff. All right. Dangerous wants to see, he's asking or he's saying, it sounds like he's demanding that I should do a trick tutorial video, which I think is kind of a good idea. To kind of show you guys some tricks.
Let me say hello to everybody. Okay.
Hey, buddy. What you doing over there? Huh?
What's Rick Lantis?
I don't know.
Is that Rick and Morty? Do you do any throttle curve adjustments?
I don't do throttle curve adjustments, but I do TPA adjustments.
Oh, your feet stink.
You what? Does he smell like Doritos?
Aw, Guillermo, he's so rude.
I have a GP61. This guy, I have Simeon, if I'm saying that right, is asking me about my gas engines and my planes. I have a GP61, which is a single. I have a DA70 and a DA120.
Simeon Solar Sky.
Should I do a stream on...
Yeah, what time is this stream on Friday, FPV Live?
What's that?
FPV Live didn't even tell you what time the stream
I know, man. You gotta let me know when the stream's gonna happen.
I know.
Alright, so we got a few more questions. I don't know. I can't give you details on like what I'm giving away. It will probably be like a t-shirt, flight controller. Maybe I'll randomly surprise you guys with the F3 Expo quad as a giveaway. But I think I might only do the giveaways like on live stream. That way it's not just like a, I don't know. I like the idea of like giving it to the person live. I'm not really giving it to them live, but you know, they know they won it live at least. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Hornet FPV, I'm building my first quad. Any tip on the building process? Well, I'm hoping that there are plenty of videos out there for you to watch now. Unlike there were none when I was learning or when I was doing my first quad. So I'm assuming you know how to solder. And I think you don't really need any tips. I think you'll be fine. I think just go at it and don't be worried about it.
Davey boy, yes he does. He said, Skitzo, how often do you change your props? Do you bend them back into shape and keep flying them until they're totally beat up? You do with which ones are...
I normally, okay, so when I'm flying fiber, glass fiber, or glass nylon, those shatter. So when I break a prop, I have to change the prop. I fly the HQ PC props too, though. But usually when I bend them, if it's just like a slight bend, you know what I mean? I'll just kind of bend it back a little bit. But if it's like if it's got like a hard 90-degree turn, I just change it because I care about the footage. I care about how good the footage is, and that will kind of keep you from being able to do that. But if you're just out there to fly and don't care about making good footage, then just keep bending them back, you know.
Jesse Simmons says, "Let me buy the F3 quad, the F3 Expo.
$5,000.
I want to make it a trophy, bro."
$5,000 quad.
Absolutely not. You're not selling that thing. All right,
couple more, then we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in, though.
Never tried cyclones?
I haven't tried cyclones. I don't know what those are. It might be props.
Thoughts on Amway Commanders?
Don't know what that is either.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, I'll give 600 for it. 5,000, bro. Just kidding.
What's wrong with me rocking in my chair, man? That's what you do in these chairs. Don't you do that when you race in your racing seat?
Ew, John Doe. That's so gross. Tycho has this thing with licking.
He loves licking. Like, he'll just lick you forever until you forcefully make him stop.
Are you an innie or outie?
Both.
No. Is your belly button an innie or outie?
It's an innie. Outies aren't real people.
Raceflight Android app? Excuse me. Yes, they are.
Outies are aliens. Aliens.
Oh. Anyways. Yeah.
I think sign stuff will be cool. Later, Red Beast. Thanks for stopping by, man. All right, we're going to just, I guess, wrap it up. Do we have any more?
No, it's time for a movie and bed.
All right, I got one more that I'll answer,
Netflix
and then I've got to be done. Random person is asking any good stories about getting kicked out of places. Well, we went to jail for flying at a place, and I think that was one of the more notable getting kicked outs. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys know that, but we flew at an area that we weren't supposed to be at, and they saw our YouTube video and said they had warrant for our arrests. So that was fun. Anyway, the giveaway will happen on the live stream next week. So I might try to start doing live streams more than once a week, maybe offsetting it for fans overseas, because I know a lot of guys are complaining about, they have to sleep because they are obviously in a different time zone. So I might try to start doing like a late night one on Friday or something like that. I don't know, but I'll let you guys know. But the giveaways will happen here, like right now, like what we're doing.
People want you to put the mugshot up as your
Gangstas of FPV.
As your thing.
Say bye, Tycho. Bye, Tycho. Bye, Tycho. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Love you all, and we'll see you on the next one.